Alright, welcome back to Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous for Murderhobo Mittwoch. So, I'm going to start off, the game so far, I've had very negative reactions to a lot of the game. And I'm hoping that my goal has been that the negative reactions I've had, I've been able to put constructive additions to. But I'm just going to go over what my thoughts are and why I'm continuing to play this. So, starting off with just my complaints with the game and how they could have been better is we'll start with the story. So, the story beats range from weak to ridiculous. There's plot twists that have no impact because, oh wow, she was working against us the whole time, but it's completely meaningless. Like, doesn't make any sense. And whenever people are acting well outside of their established character, like whenever Camellia responded to Ember with so much hate and vitriol, all of a sudden out of nowhere, when she's been this like really pleasant, elegant person, and there's no explanation at all. It's just bad writing. And it's so awful. Yeah. Like, the first thing a writer should consider when progressing a narrative is, like, what is this character thinking, or what are they feeling? And, like, if the character doesn't have any thoughts or opinions on what they're talking about, then why are they wasting my time speaking to me? And also in that vein, if the only purpose of a character speaking is exposition, like, I know it's beaten over and over, like, show, don't tell, everyone has heard, with exposition, when you're trying to set stuff up, show, don't tell. But, like, if you have to have a character speak with exposition, have them care what's happening in such a way that I'm gonna care that they care. Because if they're just delivering what's going on, then it's not going to pull me in at all. I'm not going to care. Like, the majority of what people have been saying so far in this game have been so dissonant or just nonsensical or meaningless. Like, every line of text, every line of dialogue that a character speaks should either have some significance for some reason or get cut out of the story. Like, there were so many times now where I start reading something and I'm just like, why? Why? This doesn't tell me any more about anything meaningful. It's just filler. Like, they felt like they needed to have sentences upon sentences upon sentences, and it doesn't even establish, like, the characters are inconsistent. It's rough dealing with it, because I've said it before, I didn't come into this game expecting, R.A. Salvatore or Tolkien or anything like that, but, like, I did expect them to hire a decent writer. And it just, whoever wrote for this story, I feel like a lot of the stuff that's going on, like, it really struck me as somebody who's not a very good writer going, oh, wouldn't it be cool if blah, and then shoving it into the story haphazardly. Like, the betrayal of the Darug, whatever her name was. Like, there wasn't much meaning to it. It felt shoved in. I'm not the world's best writer, so that's about all the comments I have for the writing. But I am an experienced DM. And I've dealt with and interacted with a lot of really bad DMs. And I've seen so many examples in this game of bad DMing. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, DM is short for Dungeon Master. Some game systems call them a Game Master or GM. It's the person in a pen and paper game who sits down at the table and instead of playing a character, narrates the world, develops and explains the setting to the players, interacts. It's the person in the communal storytelling of a pen and paper campaign who lets the players tell their story in their world. Part of being a DM is setting up things like encounters and challenges for your players to overcome. And I've got over 20 years of experience DMing. So, yeah, I've brought my players to tears because I can turn something as inane as imagination games into compelling, meaningful narratives and challenges that players are overjoyed when they overcome them and are like, wow, that was so epic. And I feel like a lot of the problems that this game has is that it feels like somebody who's sitting down to try to DM for the first time is flipping through the monster manual and going, hey, this is a cool monster, I'm going to throw 10 of these at them. So, just to be a little bit more concise, an example, the Thief's Quest thing, to find the traitor. So, anytime you're DMing, every quest and character in a setting, in the world that you're in, that you're running, should be aware of and interacting with the world state. So, in this game, the world state is this city has been overrun and is being sacked by demons and cultists. So you need a better tie-in for a side quest of a little investigation of, oh, who's the traitor in the Thieves Guild. The quest needs to at least recognize the world state. Like, in isolation, rooting out the traitor to a den of thieves is a good story beat. And it can be a fun side quest. In a traditional adventure setting, it can exist in isolation, no problem. If there isn't a pressing concern on the party, then yes, having this side mission where they go and interact with the Den of Thieves and have to figure out who the traitor is based on a botched robbery, that's a good story beat in that context. In the context of Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous, it makes no sense. But all it would have taken for it to make sense is for a good DM to go, okay, I have this story beat of the traitor in the Den of Thieves. So, I don't know, something like, have them, okay, yeah, we know the city's burning around us, but before we evacuate to, our safe haven that we can go to, we don't want to lead the cultists there, and we know that whoever betrayed us has ties to the cultists, and we can't bring a cultist informant with us, so we have to figure out who they are right now before we leave. And that would actually, whenever you go back to the commander and are like, hey, yeah, you've been working with an informant, and the commander's like, wait, why are you dealing with this traitor in the Den of Thieves? We have a city burning around us. You can say, yes, but the traitor has ties to the cultists, and the informant that you've been working with has actually also been an informant for the cultists, so you've been double-crossed, and we can capture them once we figure out who they are and get information out of them. So, naturally that leads to, if you're going to do that, if you're going to tie it in like that, which is a great way to tie it into this setting and this game state, this world state, then have, whenever you determine who the traitor is, have them be brought to your base for questioning. And have them like, go beyond just, oh, we have the traitor now, we're gonna interrogate him. Like, have something meaningful happen. Like, have a location revealed. Like, that's a thing this game is doing. Revealing locations as you gain information talking to people. Have a location revealed where the cultists that the traitor passed off the stolen goods to, or the stolen object to, yeah, their lair is here, and now you have a new place on the map to explore. And you can go and defeat a small stronghold of cultists that you wouldn't have known about otherwise. So, not only does it tie in the story to the world state, it allows you to expand on the world state. It's such a missed opportunity, instead of just, oh, yeah, we're helping the thieves find the traitor for no reason, really. And then you find the traitor, and then they throw in, oh yeah, the traitor gave them a MacGuffin that we stole to the cultists. Like, that fell so flat. It was the weakest tie-in ever. Okay, that's a little bit of exaggeration, but it was so weak. Like, I don't know if I audibly groaned whenever that happened, but just, like, that is the wrong way to tie in a bubble encounter / quest into a world state. It is the laziest, worst way to tie stuff in. In the conclusion, just go, oh, yeah, cultists were involved. Okay, bye. But then, I mean, I still can't get over the fact that the DM of this game started the adventure with the player being mortally wounded, carried to the middle of a party, being put in a party where all they could do is punch a dummy, throw a dart, and drink a mug of ale, and then having the big bad evil guy show up, one-shot a dragon, which it was literally just a red shirt dragon. Got one shot just to show how strong the big bad evil guy is, and then the character falls down a hole into the tutorial dungeon. Like, my expectations of the game were not super high, but they fell a lot when that was the intro. Like, literally just having the party meet in a tavern is a better start to a campaign. Like, having the city already overrun and having us wake up in the tavern and be told, hey, random stranger, I don't know what you were doing in our city, but when the city, was overtaken by these demons, we managed to bring you here to safety, would have been a better start to the story than all of that. And it probably would have cost a lot less too, because even though they were in-game cinematics, doing cinematics like that still isn't, super cheap. It takes time. But then, in addition to that, like, starting towards the mechanical side of things, but, like, the encounter balance is also something that DMs learn over the course of years of DMing. But this really does feel like somebody sitting down to the table, DMing for the first time, flipping through the monster manual and going, hey, water elementals are cool. There's water in the basement of this tutorial dungeon. Let's have a water elemental as an optional boss. And they just throw it in. And like, okay, yeah, you can use all your resources and beat this one enemy after you just plowed through all the nothing mobs throughout the rest of the dungeon. But like, the encounter balance is just, it's simultaneously awful from like stuff being too strong and everything having resistances to different elements, so your spells are useless, and damage reductions, so your attacks do less damage, and just all these difficult issues. And then at the same time, it's so incredibly weak and easy because you're facing a bunch of level 1 enemies as level 3 characters. And the damage reduction doesn't matter anymore because, oh, we have cold iron weapons everywhere. It doesn't make any sense. Like, the idea of encounter design, of being a game designer in general, is you're supposed to set up challenges that the player has to overcome. And in doing so, the player is rewarded not intrinsically, or not, is it extrinsically that they get a reward, like gold or whatever, and then intrinsically because they overcame the challenge? I always get those two mixed up. In any case, like, you should feel good about winning a combat encounter. It shouldn't just be, okay, here's 3 more cultists, one shot, okay, and then carrying on. But likewise, it shouldn't be, okay, here's something that's not a level 1 cultist. Oh, why did I just get 1 shot? Why is my entire party paralyzed right now? Like, there needs to be some balance, and the way older CRPGs did this was having level areas. Like, yeah, you could skip straight to the high-level areas early in Baldur's Gate, for example. But as soon as you walk into an area and you get 1 shot by a skeleton, you go, oh, I'm not supposed to be here yet. I'll come back later. But whenever these 1-shot enemies are just, like, randomly stuck around a corner, like when it's not an area that is higher level than you, it's just one enemy, it just feels bad. It's a terrible encounter. Like, there's a big difference between walking into an area and being overwhelmed because you're not supposed to be there yet, versus walking into an area, mowing through everything until you hit one enemy that just slaughters you. But, yeah, like, the worst part about it, really, is that because of how bad the encounter design is, if the encounters were all across the board too easy, trash mobs, you could include difficulty changes to make them harder. You could increase the amount of damage they deal so that, at least then it's glass cannon both ways, or, possibly increase their health, or whatever. Like, difficulty increases to make them more challenging. Likewise, if all the enemies were too strong throughout the entire game, you could weaken the enemies, you could make the difficulty sliders easier to overcome them, and then have challenging but not overbearing enemies. But since this game has both extremes, and let me just go into the options and show you. I actually looked at this, and I was going to change the encounters, but all this stuff has nothing to do with combat. That's just telling you stuff. The only options you have to adjust combat difficulty is enemy stat adjustment, which I tried this, and even having moderately stronger enemies, they still get one shot, but then they just one-shot you even if they're trash mobs. It doesn't make it any more challenging, it just becomes who hits first. Likewise, changing the damage to the party, again, doesn't make it any more challenging, it just makes it change it to, oh, if they hit you, you die, if you hit them, they die. And changing number of enemies, again, they're all trash mobs. Having more level 1s is not any more challenging for a level 3 party. And then additional enemy behaviors, I had this on and I didn't see any differences. And that's it. Those are the only 4 options of all the options that actually change the actual encounter difficulty. I mean, you could also turn off weak, normal, critical hits. But, yeah, that's not going to change the difficulty of the encounter. That's just going to change the RNG of, oh, my character just got crit in one shot. So, this isn't... The difficulty options are not a way to fix the problem. Because the encounters are just that poorly designed. And that hurts. As an experienced DM, I'm basically sitting down at this table, playing through this new DM's campaign, and just cringing every time I see him just flip to the DMG and go, yeah, I'm going to throw a level 9 enemy at you. And some level 5s along with them. And I'm just sitting there going, but we're a level 3 party. That's ridiculous. It's yeah, you just opened the monster manual to the section that said demons and said, well, demons are overrunning the city, so here's a big demon, haha. But yeah, and then finally, like, just the game's so heavy-handed. This goes back to whenever Durog or whatever betrays you, and it's several other times too. Like, I at this point no longer trust any dialogue option that says attack to actually let me attack. Because every time so far, it's just shifted the alignment towards evil or chaotic or whatever, and that's it. And there's been no combat, there's been no attacking, it's just Deus Ex Machina. And there's no mechanical reason for you to ever Deus Ex Machina an NPC to safety, especially if you're giving the player the explicit option to attack them. If you give the player the option to attack them, you should immediately, mechanically, start combat. Have the character try to run away inside of the mechanical combat system, that's fine. If the player fails to kill them fast enough before they escape, that's fine. You gave them the chance. And if you're a developer or coder, and you're building this dialogue system, and they're telling you, yeah, we're gonna need you to code in the ability to shift alignments by attacking people or whatever. And you're like, okay, well, do I need to write in that I can that combat starts and transition to a combat state? And they go, oh no, they can't actually fight. Tell them they're wrong and that it's bad game design, and you just, like, I don't care. I don't care if the NPC is the ordained one and the only hope to save the world from darkness. Mechanically, there is no reason that combat should not immediately begin if the player is given the option to attack. Like, even if it really was the ordained one who was the only chance at saving the world, and the player killed them, okay. Let the player get to the climax of the game, remind them they killed the NPC who could have saved the day, and let them realize murdering people haphazardly has consequences. That works great. And then, like, that just brings me to the siege battle. Like, I know I got so excited when that thing started. I was so just thrilled with the amazing idea of, oh, we have a home base in this besieged city that's being overrun by cultists. We're going to have to defend it against random attacks at random times. That's so cool. Then I got into the siege battle, and it was just literal infinite spawn of trash mobs. And then every once in a while, there was a new wave of specific things that had to be killed to progress the story, or to progress the siege. And then it just kept going on, and on, and on. And meanwhile, our strongest allies are just standing stationary, watching everyone else die. And occasionally killing a cultist that runs up too close. Then a Minotaur shows up out of nowhere. And without me having to do anything as the player, just watching it walk up and start getting killed by the people who just stood there and watched the rest of the siege up to that point. Like, it would have been so much more successful if they just had it shorter, made it shorter, like had less spawns, and once you cleared all of the enemies that have spawned, start the next wave immediately, and have that Minotaur show up quicker, but have less defenders, have less of the NPCs standing there, have them more scattered out fighting all of the trash mobs as well, have them weaker even. And leave it up to the player and the one commander NPC that's stronger than the rest to fight the Minotaur. But of course then, you know, again going back to this encounter design thing, make sure the Minotaur isn't too strong for the player at that level. And then after that introductory siege, have the players have to return every now and then because, we're besieged again, and then have the player show up and fight the siege, and just have a small siege every once in a while. That's like a really cool game mechanism that they just implemented poorly. And that's really why I keep playing this game. is because I see what could have been a great game. And just all the places they went wrong. And all the things they could have done so much better. And, like, there have been several times already where I've been like, I'm done with this. I'm walking away, I'm going to a different game. But every time I'm like, but I'll give it one more chance. And I'm not going to do that anymore. At this point, I'm done giving it chances to be a good game. I'm gonna play with the understanding that I'm looking at a train wreck, and I'm trying to pull out and glean how it could have been better, and how it could have been improved. And with that understanding, I'm not going to be disappointed anymore, because now I'll, at best, or at worst, I'll be expecting exactly how bad it is, and at best I'll be pleasantly surprised when they do something awesome. And also, admittedly, one of the reasons I haven't quit playing yet is because, in the options, there's this whole thing down here, where is it? Oh, here it is. Crusade Management Difficulty. This option allows you to set the Crusade Management difficulty to your preference. It affects the amount of resources gained and the number of recruits available for hire. Like, I'm really curious, this Crusade Auto mode, like, strategic management of the Crusade. When does that start? Like, that's the question, is when does that start? So, once I find out what these are talking about, this Crusade mode, if it's also bad, then I probably will move on to another game, because at that point I'll probably have gleaned as much information as I could out of this one. But I'm definitely sticking around until I find out what this is all about. I mean, we've got talk of morale systems, we've got resources of some kind being gained, like, yeah. I'm really curious what that's all about, and once I get there, I'll get to see. In any case, for now, I'm going to continue with the cut commentary kind of thing. And, again, the focus now will be on this is a bad game, but how could it have been good? How could it have been better? And so we will start off by going to the next nearest place. The Tower of Estrade. Okay. So, random ghosty guys, huh? Are they actually going to come and fight with me? Okay. So, angel phantasms of some kind. Okay, so they gave me some kind of buff, and it doesn't say what it does. Okay then. Hey, why is Woljif injured?
I encourage people to save the poor, helpless tieflings around the world, starting with me.
Okay. Okay, so... Alright, so they're just standing there? Okay.
Our path leads on.
Okay. Oh no. Okay. So we can intimidate to tell them to get out of here before we kill them all. At a +9. I can kill you right now, or I can give you a few more minutes of life if you answer my questions. So why not? Let's have a chat. Really? Okay, so I was curious if it was actually going to let me just, like, nope out of here. Naturally, it didn't. Although this is an interesting situation I've got myself in. Well, I guess I will take this high ground. Mobility 19 DC, interesting. Can I shoot him? He's out of range of my spell. So I guess I'll shoot him. Alright, Camellia. What's his AC? 13. Okay.
I'll cut you wide open.
So are these all trash mobs? What about this dude? Level 7 witch? Seriously? So this looks like the perfect chance to do this. That was actually very underwhelming. Okay.
The spirits demand your blood.
Okay.
This is how it feels.
Yeah, and he randomly can fireball us. Good deal. Yeah, again, just the levels. Like, it would make a lot more sense if we were against a bunch of level 4s instead of some level 1s and level 4s and a level 7. Like, the random level 7 doesn't make sense. But, I mean, this isn't as egregious as most of them have been, so... Alright. Level 7 witch down. Alright, and I'm leveling everyone up. So now we're all level 4.
The mongrel did it.
Without a doubt.
Thanks.
Wait a second.
So awesome.
What? Excuse me? Okay.
Thanks, Lan. You're so awesome, Lan.
What, does that mean this one over here as well?
The mongrel did it. I'm all ears. Thanks, you're so awesome, Lan.
Okay. Another great example of... Okay. First off, whenever we got to this point, we were forced into the encounter. So having little environmental traps that we could trigger onto them from the sides of the battlefield, that's pointless. Because there's never going to be a world where A, we don't stop here and have to deal with them, and B, they're still standing there after we deal with them. Like, if we were able to not engage and get here and see them all down there and not immediately get into a fight with them, that would have given us a chance to look around and go, hey, there's an athletics check here, there's an athletics check there, let's check those out since we haven't started the fight. Oh, hey, we can start by crippling their forces by dropping these things on them. Like, that would be cool. That would be pretty cool indeed. But again, just missed opportunity. Just why? It's so disjointed. Of course not. Okay. Why are so many of these cultists just idiots?
Without a doubt.
Like, it's really not funny if everyone you come across is an idiot. Having, like, one idiot in the entirety of all the cultists whenever you run into them makes it a memorable experience. Makes it interesting. But if there's not, if every 5 minutes you run across another idiot cultist, it just undermines the threat. So then they're not actually meaningful threats anymore. And at that point, yeah, what's the point? Like, it's very rare that somebody's functional, as in, like, able to be a custodian of a museum, and forgets who they are. At that point, they're not capable of functioning as a human being. Okay, so I need to go back. Back through the market square to get to Gorm's mansion. Are there any other places? I've already been there. Yeah, so I think next time I will go through the market square and do Gorm's mansion, possibly also Topaz Solutions and Terabade Residence, if they don't take too long. And then the next episode I'll do Blackwing Library and Taxi and Wine Cellar. But yeah, so I got a diadem that increases Kineticist's simple energy blasts by 1d6 points and physical blasts by 1d6 plus 1. An additional 2d6 for I don't know what any of this is, so I'm gonna look at Kineticists before next episode. And if I decide to go with it and mess with it, then I mean I probably will, because my mage is literally accomplishing nothing right now. Since everyone has fire resistance, electricity immunity, cold resistance, etc. So like, yeah, my mage is useless. So I'm probably going to change her to a kineticist since I have that item to play with. But I'll do that before next time. For now, I hope I've made it clear what to expect from the series moving forward. We'll get back to enjoying fun games with future games in Murderhobo Mittwoch. But for now, we're going to take this as a learning experience. We're going to hum and haw over the what ifs and wouldn't it be grand if they had done X, Y, or Z instead kind of mentality. Also, at some point, I really hope to get barding for my dog, because yeah, that's it. I picked the Bulwark class to get the barding, and I've not found barding yet. I have not been able to buy barding yet, so that's a little annoying. In any case, that has been your episode of Murderhobo Mittwoch for the week. That has been Pathfinder: Wrath of the Righteous. So, I hope you enjoyed it, and until next week, have a good one.